This is a clip from an earlier live stream. I know you're going to like it, so the link to the full video is down below. Check it out. I'll see you over there. Okay, well, I've said this before. I'm somebody who has ADHD. I had it before it was cool, right? So I can kind of pick somebody out. And one of the telltale signs of we who have ADHD, we're just hyper in our thought process, is it's really hard for us to stay on a task for long periods of time. And it's a big deal for us to remain on task. And if you step back and look at Candace over time, she can't stay on a topic for very long. It seems like she's there for a long time because she backs a dump truck up and empties it out, but then she goes on to something else. And I said it when she came back from Christmas break, she was going to pivot off of the Charlie Kirk, finding the assailant of Charlie Kirk into something else. And now we are in the multiverse of madness, I guess is probably the best way to say what happened on Monday. She literally started to pivot off of, I know she keeps bringing up Fort Wakachua every now and then, but really this week she's proven that she's no longer really interested in Charlie Kirk. This is how bad and mean and evil people are treating me. And now we're into mind control and being able to see into the future, bottlenecking the timelines. I'm like, ma'am, just stop and read what you're saying. That sounds like you're reading a comic book script. But
yeah,
we knew it was coming. We knew it was coming. So to answer your question, I do think she's gone off the left field, but I think she's just pivoting because, and then this is just my thought. In the background, I just got probably about 35 minutes ago, I got her response to the judge on the Macron case. Just from the little quick scan over that I read over, she's probably also very irritated and, dare I say, very distracted because it didn't look good. It did not look good, the little summary that I read. And I'll probably go over it tomorrow or Sunday, but it doesn't look good. It doesn't. So I think that she has a lot of other things, little, fires going around her, that this right here is really not getting her full attention. And I think she's just lost the plot.
It also seems like she's kind of running out of material to sustain her current. I don't even know which narrative we would talk about. I mean, that's the other problem with this is like we keep jumping from narrative to narrative to narrative, and I don't even know where she's at. I would love just Candace, if you're watching, and I know you do watch obscure YouTubers from time to time. Can you give us just kind of where we're at in all this? Like, where are we at with the planes, the Egyptian planes? Where are we at with the French assassins that are allegedly killed Charlie? Where are we at with the French assassins that are allegedly trying to kill you? How does Fort Huachuca,
us maroon guys, us maroon shirts,
maroon people with maroon shirts, the National Guard, Fort Huachuca, bless you. I just kind of want to know how it all ties together.
And that's a fantastic question. And one of the things Candace has is Dunning-Kruger effect. And it's the notion that I get a little bit of information. I've watched 5 YouTube videos on something, and I feel like I'm an expert. I can detail your car because I watched 10 hours of Detail Geek or something of that nature. And that's really what Dunning-Kruger effect is. She has it like on steroids because this week she tried to explain the whole looking glass scenario, and it sounded really crazy when she explained it. I heard somebody who's actually an expert in it explain it. Oh, and it still sounded crazy. But I was like, wow, this would have been so much better if she had this person explain it rather than what she did on air. But she doesn't. She gets a little bit of information, and you could tell she got just enough information to be dangerous. She probably read 2 or 3 articles while sitting on the toilet and then just decided she was going to talk about it. And ma'am, no. So one of her problems is that she has Dunning-Kruger effect, like on steroids, and she doesn't fully give her information time to marinate, to boil, to cook thoroughly. She would be horrible pit master. I'll tell you that much, because she would never be able to smoke food because it takes time to do it. She would be a horrible pit master. And I think that's one of the things we're seeing. So to your point about running out of material is because she doesn't give the material time to, well, one, she doesn't vet the material. She doesn't know if it's actually good material. She just throw out an idea like there's a guy wearing a heather green t-shirt. Well, what does that mean? Who cares? He's wearing a heather gray t-shirt. What does that mean? Well, he's suspect. Based upon what? So
he looks like he's been associated with the military at some point, or maybe his parents were.
She's got a hankering against y'all, man. On her list, she's got, she loved Charlie, she loved Ben, she loves y'all. And by love, I mean she hates you. Because man, she's got some problems with y'all for sure.
Yeah, she does have like this weird misconception or prejudice against the military. That's been coming up. It was obvious to me for months and months and months. Every time it's like, you know what? I think he's associated with the military. Oh, you know,
why is that
the
bad?
video I got from this guy? Apparently he was in the military. Like, I don't know what that really means, but it means something to her. That's for sure. Yeah. So Project Looking Glass, you know, I am a big conspiracy, especially when it comes to the CIA black projects and things like that. I've always been a nerd for that stuff. So I'm pretty well read on many of these things. And
let me stop you for a hot second. Let me stop before you get too far. Before, we all thought she was a conspiracy theorist anyway, but now she's starting to lean into it. I don't know why that is, because I don't think that you, Gary, even though all of us like a little conspiracy, right? Everybody, it's kind of interesting. Most of your spy movies are conspiracies to some degree, shape, or form. Fast and Furious is a conspiracy, but you don't live that way. You're not living like that. Therein is the problem. You can disconnect your conspiracy from your regular life. I'm wondering why she started identifying herself as a conspiracy theorist.
Well, I think there's an important delineation that needs to be made there. So, you know, look, I think there are real conspiracies,
for sure.
Right? I mean,
no
there are, and really, when we're talking about CIA projects, I wouldn't even say it's a conspiracy. They're just secret projects, and some of them are nefarious. They are, and then some of them not so much, and then some of these things that we find on the internet that are just internet lore is just that. And look, out of all the different projects, there's lots of crazy projects when it comes to the CIA, and some of them are very real. Astral projection, like there's a lot of things that they do that they have dabbled in, that they have experimented with and found different results with. When it comes to Project Looking Glass, I haven't seen anything that actually determines that it's a real project. But even if it was, what we see on that one, especially when we're talking about Sumerian technology that they found, they stole, they hooked up to a computer, that is like the most people that would consider themselves a conspiracy theorist wouldn't even take that particular portion of it, you know, seriously. And I do think that's the important delineation. We need to realize that, like, there are government conspiracies. There's things that we don't know about that, you know, maybe later on they're declassified. We find out about them. There's whistleblowers. There's all these things. But the problem is that there's a certain element of conspiracy theorist or demographic conspiracy theorists is that they tend to believe the craziest, you know, conspiracies or ideas that have the least amount of evidence. And that's where she definitely goes wrong with some of this stuff. And on top of that, some of these things are fun to talk about. And the other big thing that it does right now is it takes any sort of focus off of Tyler Robinson and the left. Look, that's the goal here. The goal here is, no. The left wasn't responsible for this. The Trump administration was responsible for this. TPUSA that got Trump elected was responsible for this. Erica Kirk's responsible for this. And you see, you know, all these things start off with, she's using incrementalism. She puts things out there to kind of tease, to see how well it does. And then if there seems to be buzz around this thing, then she kind of goes after this full-throated. At first, we barely heard anything about Erica Kirk. As a matter of fact, I'm old enough to remember that at the beginning of this, there was a bunch of people in the Candace shop over there that were saying that Erica Kirk was the one that was feeding her. That was her source for a lot of this stuff. Erica Kirk was the one feeding her this stuff because she wanted Candace to find out who actually killed Charlie, and that, you know, the narrative was that Erica was suspicious of everybody around her, and it was Erica feeding her this information. And then I think that clearly panned out to not be true. And then she started a little bit at a time attacking Erica right around the edges. And now I kind of think she's much more direct with that and demonizing Erica. But, you know, I mean, that's kind of where she's at with all of this. But that is the problem with this. Now she's talking about how, you know, when Charlie passes under lights, they go out. He's an X-Man. He's a time traveler. You know, I mean, how many silly things have you and I have said in text messages to our friends, just joking around? Nobody would ever take them literally. I guarantee you, whatever Charlie said, talking about I'm a time traveler, he didn't mean that literally, and that's how she is now presenting it. I don't think she thinks that either.
I know you liked that episode. This is actually a clip from a larger live stream. The link is down in the description, so you can go check it out. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you down there. Grace and peace.